Hi there. Thank you for joining us today for the next installment. My name is Dr. Helen Tong, and I'm here to welcome you to the Master Vitality Series. I'm here with the incredible Dr. Keith, my partner in business and life, for this series to help you find out more about all of the excellent opportunity to help you lead a happier and more productive lifestyle. And with this in mind today, we are looking at the importance of vitamin D overall to help you understand several key questions, such as why is vitamin D important to your health and how important is vitamin D anyway? Over to you, Dr. Keith. What is vitamin D anyway?
Thanks, Dr. Helen. Well, to answer those questions, perhaps we should first go back to the very basics. Vitamin D, as you may be aware, is a vitamin that we are able to naturally produce in our bodies when we head out into the sun. It's great news for those who want to sunbathe, really. However, in many countries around the world, vitamin D deficiencies are possible as a result of an overall lack of sunlight, or even if you live in a part of the world where it's pretty sunny, you could end up struggling with vitamin D deficiencies if you are not able to get out and about enough to make the most of the sunny weather. In these cases, many people take vitamin D supplements, which are readily available as drops or pill forms. Still, if you're a little bit unsure, we recommend getting support from your physician or qualified practitioners such as ourselves to ensure that you're getting the right supplemental dose of vitamin D overall. Generally speaking, most of us will need vitamin D at around 1,000 IUs per day, but the amount of supplements you need may still vary based on your lifestyle and individual requirements.
Thanks, Dr. Keith. That is good to know. For sure, it is pretty easy to overlook the overall vitamin D importance, really, isn't it? After all, so many people are struggling with these deficiencies at any time. And yet, even though these conditions are common in many cases, it is still true that many people won't even know about not getting enough vitamin D. It is pretty shocking. In fact, some studies have found that over half of the people could be struggling with vitamin D deficiency at any one time, even though it is a vitamin we can naturally make ourselves. It is also commonly seen in Asian countries, but that is not to say that people from other countries should overlook the importance of vitamin D. The main question then of why vitamin D is important to our health is still as vital as ever. Could you answer that, Dr. Keith?
Sure. Vitamin D is highly important in many different functions in the body, and it has also been known for its role in helping the body both absorb and use calcium and phosphorus. Of course, we have always been told that calcium is important for strong bones, and that's very much true. However, many people don't realize that phosphorus is also highly important for building strong bones. So, the importance of vitamin D for overall bone health is massive. That's not all it does, though. Many studies have also found correlations between vitamin D and immune system functions, inflammation reductions, and potentially, it could even help with slowing down the growth of cancerous cells and tissues. It almost seems too good to be true, doesn't it? But it is absolutely not. It's just a massively important vitamin, which is why I really can't stress vitamin D importance enough at this point. A vitamin D deficiency could lead to many potential complications, and of course, avoiding this is in everyone's best interest. None of us wants to be ill or weak.
Thanks, Dr. Keith. That really puts the question of how important is vitamin D into perspective there. Still, at this point, the main question probably has to be, how can we get enough vitamin D in our bodies then? Surely, heading out to spend all day outside in the sun isn't really a healthy way to tackle a vitamin D deficiency. What is your take on this, Dr. Keith?
Well, Dr. Helen, this is something that is a typical example of everything in moderation. Indeed, many people assume that getting out in the sun is potentially a dangerous way to up the vitamin D level, since being exposed to the sun can cause countless problems. However, while this is true, it's still important to get out and about in the sun when possible and when practical, to ensure you're getting plenty of vitamin D. However, with this in mind, we recommend you take steps to protect yourselves from potential dangers of sun exposures, since UV light can definitely be problematic in high doses. Balancing your time out in the sun is vital. Moreover, it's also important to ensure you're using plenty of sun protection to reduce the chances of UV light damage to your skin. SPF 50 sunscreen is probably the best option here, so make sure you invest in the best sunscreen you can afford. However, look for chemical and preservative-free sunscreens where possible, just to be on the safe side. Indeed, many people are concerned about the potential for absorbing nasty chemicals into their bodies. So, this is definitely something we would recommend carefully considering.
That is definitely worth considering. If I may, I would also like to add that there are environmental benefits for using chemical-free sunscreen, which many people may want to consider. Indeed, especially if you are planning on going for a swim in the sea or even in a river, choosing a gentler chemical-free sunscreen is also vital to ensure that these chemicals aren't washing off into the ocean. Research has found that chemical-based sunscreen could potentially be dangerous for sea life and coral reef in particular. This is well worth considering if you want to ensure that your action aren't putting the natural world around us at risk.
That's absolutely right, Dr. Helen. Coral reefs in particular are getting more and more vulnerable to climate change, and our activities are actually having a very significant impact on their viability and health. And since coral reefs are living systems that provide a habitat for countless other species, so many food chains are heavily relying on them. So we generally need to do what we can to ensure that our lifestyle is having as little damage on the world around us as possible. It's well worth considering.
So now that we have considered the importance of getting outside in the sun to ensure we are all making the most of vitamin D importance, but this brings up a vital important question. We have outlined the questions of how important is vitamin D and why is vitamin D important to our health. But there is one massive question we have not yet considered during today's topic. How much vitamin D do we actually need, and how much vitamin D can we tolerate? At what point might we begin seeing side effects from vitamin D level? Would you like to tackle that question, Dr. Keith?
Sure, Dr. Helen. The exact vitamin D requirements will vary from person to person. Unfortunately, so this makes it a little bit tricky to predict. However, for most adults, we need around 600 IUs of vitamin D. This increases gradually as we age, so by the time we're 70 years of age, we typically need around 800 IUs per day. This equates to around 15 micrograms to 20 micrograms respectively. In other words, the older we are, the more time we deserve to relax and sunbathe. Sounds pretty good to me. However, it is likely that you may overconsume too much vitamin D, especially if you've been taking vitamin D supplements when you don't need them. 4,000 IUs of vitamin D or around 100 microgram is generally the agreed tolerable upper intake levels. And for daily intake of this or less, there shouldn't hopefully be any side effects. However, if you were to have an intake of vitamin D higher than this, you might begin to notice potential complications and side effects. So, we would strongly recommend against this. With this in mind, you should never take vitamin D supplements unless you know confidently that you need them. A blood test can be an excellent way to confirm this.
A very good point, Dr. Keith. It is never worth taking the risk, isn't it? Luckily, this is something a doctor or a qualified practitioner should be able to help with if you are concerned about your vitamin D levels. So be sure to reach out to them for support if you are not sure whether you should be taking vitamin D supplement or not. That is all for today's topic on the importance of vitamin D. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already to get notifications of our next video on mastering your vitality. See you soon.
Bye.